Good morning again, children of God. I get to bring a message just for you this morning. You know, when I was a little girl, my dad taught me how to ride a bike. Anybody here ride a bike? Chris, do you ride a bike? Ride bikes? There's some bike riders, right? I am still not a very good bike rider. Even as a grown-up, I crash my bike a little more than I probably should. So when my dad was teaching me how to ride a bike without training wheels, a two-wheel bike, it was purple. I love this bike, white tires. He was teaching me how to ride, and we lived on a block, so you could ride around the block and not have to stop. And so my poor dad, he's running behind me, and we got to the house on the corner. It had this really cool little wall. It was concrete, and it sloped at the top. It was fun to try to balance on. You'd have to go on the side. Oh, it was amazing. But when I was riding my bike, I hit a bump in the sidewalk and swerved, and I crashed into that concrete wall, and I skinned up my leg, and I was bleeding. And what do you think my dad did? He picked me up. He picked up my bike, he took me home, got me Band-Aids and a cool drink of water and probably a snack and helped me calm down and helped me get back on my bike the next time. It's a story of something that I remember about my dad. I bet you all, and actually all of you, have stories like that, right? Stories about how somebody took care of you and provided for you. Every week when we get ready to have communion, we tell the stories of how God takes care of God's children, all of us. We remember all these really cool things that God did. Can you all think of any stories about how God cares for God's people? We might need some grown-up help here. Any stories about how God cares for God's people?
Exodus.
All right, Exodus, right? Brings the people out across the sea, gives them manna and quail in the wilderness and water from the rock. That's a big one. You say Exodus and you covered a lot. Feeding the multitudes. Yeah, we just heard that not long ago. Absolutely. Oh, 3 men in a fire furnace. Others? Oh, thank you. Joshua. Daniel in the lion's den. Yeah. Kept those lions' mouths shut. Say it again. Loving and forgiving. That's right. That's Jesus' message of love and forgiveness. That's right. Very good. Any others? Actually, in a little bit, we will hear a story about Elijah. And he did the right thing, and it made people mad, and he is running away. And God gives him a snack and a nap. Exactly what he needs. So I made notes of this, so that when it gets to that point in time in communion, you'll hear those stories that you remembered, along with some of the other stories. And as we're remembering, we get to a story about Jesus. Every week we get to the same story about Jesus, where he takes some bread, and he takes some wine, and he shares it with his friends and says, "Do this in remembrance of me." We have communion for a lot of reasons, but one of them is to remember what God does for us. Every week we come to this table to remember what God does for us, that God loves us, gives us food and sometimes a nap, and also loves and forgives us every day. Will you pray with me? Dear God, we remember, I guess you could repeat after me. We remember that you provide what we need. Thank you. Amen.